Hey everyone, so welcome to the materials section, and here I'm going to be telling you guys what the materials are you are going to need. Now this is optional, all these are optional, you guys just can get whatever you can get. So yeah, let's just get started. So let's start off with the pencils and the pens and the erasers. So here we have a regular pencil. Number 2 pencil can work. You can even have drawing pencils that have like multiple levels of darkness. You know, HB or B12 or B2, whatever that is. You can find those at the regular at your normal arts and crafts store. They always sell those. But anyways, any kind of pencil works. Even mechanical pencils can work. So just letting you know that this is what I'll be using. So I'll probably be mainly using a mechanical pencil or a number 2 pencil depending on my mood, but regardless, it works either way. Now, when it comes to pens or inking pens, we have our Sakura Micron pens. I will probably mainly use 005 and 01, though that's the thickness level. 005 being the thinnest, and 01 being kind of like sort of next, a little bit thicker. So Sakura Micron pens, why that? There's other brands like, you know, Prismacolor pens as well, Prismacolor liners or other kinds, but I'm using Sakura Micron pens just because I'm going to be using watercolor paper later on, and or just any kind of mixed media paper that can hold water well, because I'll be using watercolor, and these pens just they don't bleed, so I'm going to be using that. Then for erasers, I have a kneaded eraser. Regular erasers work too, by the way. I'm just saying, once again, these are all optional. Work with what you have. A kneaded eraser, because it's actually a lot less finicky than a regular eraser, because when you use a kneaded eraser, when you erase, there's no there's no eraser shavings, and there's no mess. You just got to make sure that you just press it out or press the lead out. With a regular eraser, if you have like those nice white erasers that are for drawing, sometimes you can push too hard, and then it just kind of obliterates your paper. And I've had that happen so many times, so I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna go kneaded. So yeah, the brands are Faber-Castells or Generals, so either one can work. And then for the last pen, which is once again just to my liking, and also something that you guys can get really cheaply, white jelly roll pens. Now these are for like a little extra highlights if you want a more opaque white tone, because I know that if we're doing anime eyes, for example, and we want a really opaque and white color, we mostly use jelly roll pens. Now, of course, I'll be going over this later on, but don't overuse these. Don't overuse these white jelly roll pens, because that they can get really, really annoying to look at if you use it too much. So just only use them sparingly. So now let's get to sketchbooks. By the way, these are all in the downloadable resources, so you guys can go ahead and look at these again, or just look at the video again. So here are the sketchbooks that I'm using. Here I have a sketch pad. Now I actually have a bigger sketch pad than this. This is the Master's Touch sketch pad. For you guys, I recommend that you guys go 9x12 or more. Not too small, but big enough that you guys can comfortably work around in. And the reason why I have a much larger workspace, or much larger pad, as you can see, you'll see later on, it's just because it's just easy for me to draw and do demonstrations. And I forgot to add this, but I also got some watercolor paper, some Canson's, CANSON''S to spell it. Canson's watercolor paper works well, but other than that, you can use the mixed media one if watercolor paper is too expensive for you. So a mixed media pads is good for absorbing some water. Don't use it too much, obviously, just enough that it can withhold it and not crinkle up that much. What else? Oh, and a small sketchbook for casual drawings if you want to draw outside or anything like that. You guys can do that completely as well. I have one just for tests and everything. Now, can you use 8.5 by 11 regular copy paper? By all means do so, you know. Like, I always used that when I was a kid. I always just drew with copy paper, and they worked well. Now, they won't work well for watercolor. They will work better for markers or color pencils, and some optional kind of materials for that. If you guys want to go more, not watercolor, although watercolor is really cheap and versatile as well. Markers, good markers. No Crayola. No Crayola markers, although they can be versatile and would be a cool challenge to work with. Use Prismacolor markers, or find any kind of good quality alcohol markers. Copics are usually more popular for the traditional artist. Copic markers are really expensive, and I don't recommend that, especially for those who are just, doing this as a hobby. Get Copics if you're really serious about this traditional art stuff, right? Prismacolor pencils work well, or any kind of coloring pencil would work well. You guys can even use like really cheap Crayola twisty pens or twisties. I used that a lot when I was a kid, but I mean those are just children's children's materials back then. So for a more professional look, use some Prismacolor pencils. Those are the really ones that I can really advertise, or any of the Master's Touch kinds that you find in the art store. So now let's go to materials, watercolor materials. So this is what I'm using. I'm mainly going to be using my Koi watercolor 24 set. This is our most basic set, and this is really nice to have around just because it's very portable, and the colors are already set for you, and you have a brush pen to go with it. Another one, Master's Touch watercolor set, is good as well. I also prefer using brush pens like this, for example, just because you can, put in water inside the pen and squeeze it out, and it's very nice. That's up to you though. Any other watercolor brush is good as well. Just look at, if you want to go and buy some brushes, go to the art store, Michael's or Hobby Lobby or whatever. Find watercolor brushes. You can buy whatever size that you want, bigger sizes for bigger paintings. I would just say get a fine, thin one, get a medium sized, and get a large one for blocking things in. And then your palettes. Now, Koi watercolor, what's good about these is that they already have a palette for you, so you guys can just use that instead. Or if you don't want to, use that, you can also use a Artisan 4-pack artist palettes as well for your watercolor. As I mentioned before, you don't have to use watercolor. You can just use color pencils or markers. I'm just using watercolor because it's pretty versatile, although it is quite difficult, but I'll walk you through that along the way. So anyways, that's it for these materials. Let me know if you guys have any questions. By the way, if you only just have pencil and paper, you are completely fine. Most of the drawings that I will do that are not watercolor is just paper and pencil. So anyways, that's it for this video. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.